Hello, everyone, and welcome to your weekly world session. So, we've been missing for 2 weeks, and this week we're going to put a whole bunch of stuff together for the post blue moon. So, we had two full moons in May, and the second one, I think it happens every 3 years, 4 years, where there's two full moons in a month. So, that makes the blue moon. And if you were anything like me, a lot of things went wrong, like electronics went wrong. Um, I don't know, just appointments, just things got kept doing very strange things over the weekend. So we also, with this blue moon, which makes a lot of sense, we also moved into the month of June. We're getting closer and closer to the to summer and in the northern hemisphere, and it will be winter in the southern hemisphere. So we got a lot of cool stuff going on for the next 3 weeks. And what we've decided to do on this return is to look at relating. So how we relate to the world around us, what is our responsibility, and what is the other person's responsibility in the social contract. So we're going to work a lot with the gut brain here. So in the gut brain, one of the things that is really important is that we have enough pathogens in the gut to balance out with our good bacteria, good microbes. So one of the things, if you go to a country where they have a lot of Montezuma or Delhi belly, any type of a gastro type problem or bug, those countries do not have the prevalence of autoimmune disorders that other countries do that do not have Delhi belly and that kind of thing. And the reasoning is that we have so many antibiotics that we've been using that, just kind of basically kill everything. And we actually, I'm not going to go through, all of that. Not that I know it all, it's very complex. But those pathogens are actually helpful to us. They actually balance everything out. So, it's not necessarily good to get rid of some. I don't have an example, but I think if somebody is, you're balancing out the pathogens with the bacteria, with the good flora, etc., and someone is experiencing asthma, you could keep treating it till the asthma goes away. But once the asthma is gone, you would not continue treating the person for whatever immune disorder is going on. The asthma would be a symptom of the immune disorder. You wouldn't keep treating them because then it's just going to make it worse. So very fascinating. I just thought that was really cool because Terryann is his name. That he has a bunch of courses that are out there. So we're going to look at the gut brain in this way. So yes, I have focused in many ways on balancing according to your body mind, your brain decides. But as we know, our brains aren't always functioning really well. Our bodies aren't functioning. That's why we do this energy healing, so that we function a lot better. And we don't want to put, let's say, an agenda into the session that will distort things. So we're going to bring in specifically, like, keep the pathogens that we need, not all of us, but whichever pathogen I need to keep autoimmune disorders at bay. Okay, so there are a couple of us that are on here that have, different types of symptomatology of autoimmune. Eczema can be that, psoriasis can be part of that. Not osteoarthritis, but this is more Western ideology. When I'm working intuitively, I say a lot of things that would be unacceptable in Western medicine. Western medicine would tell me you are dead wrong. But many things I've seen a decade later, Western medicine discovers it. So we know homeopathy is same. So you can use a poison to get rid of a poison. in homeopathy. So it's the same with the pathogen, even though Western medicine doesn't describe it that way. But if I have a pathogen and I want to deal with another pathogen, I might need a pathogen to deal with a pathogen, right? So we're going to allow this is a parameter we're working within to allow those things to occur. So the relationship between all of our bugs, the pathogens plus what we need in the body are relating a lot better. Now, switch out to your life. If you bring that, how am I doing in my body when it comes to these microbes versus, or no, in parallel, really, how am I doing with friends and family? How am I relating to people? Am I very saccharine sweet with people and insipid and always trying to relate? And yet, I have this kind of stomach issue that bothers me and susceptible to carbs and sugar. Not that most of us are, you don't want to have much, but what if you have a little bit and your stomach blows up, right? Because maybe when you're relating to others, just as your microbes relate, you're not standing up and saying what you need to say to someone. Okay, I'm just having the weirdest moment because what I just said surprised me in accordance to something I was saying to the group at the get-go when we were talking. I'm not going to give my personal life here, but the group's going to understand where I went with this. I was thinking maybe one of the things I have not done in that relationship that I was talking about is to say something that I need to say that wouldn't be nice. Yeah. And whatever I think is not nice, right? Because not nice could be something you think is not nice, but it's really just stating a fact of what, let's say, another person does. So if another person, I don't know, comes into your house and, steals stuff, and then you're just go, okay, they stole stuff. They're not well in the head. They did this. Okay, they're gone now. I'm not going to talk to them. But I never actually stated out loud, hey, you stole this from me. I know it's on video camera. I have it. I have it video recorded. I have it. It's digital now. It's not video anymore. So digitally recorded. So I know it's a fact. I'm using that as a strong example, but because you might doubt if you're not 100% sure. You might have seen the person steal and you say, please give it back. And they go, no, it's mine. I mean, there are a lot of weird things that can happen in the world. So I hope you guys are kind of getting a buzz on that. Have you said the things that are facts, not what you feel about a situation? Right? What I feel about something is what I feel. It has nothing to do with the other person. But what the person has done really helps clear things. This is where we want our small intestine and the heart to be clear. I can have compassion and state what is, not what I feel. What I feel is my personal experience. You might feel bad that somebody stole from you and upset. And then you go tell the person, I really feel bad that you stole. They don't care. They stole from you. What do they care? This is your problem. It's not theirs. It's never going to work out. Never going to clear itself because they don't care. They will not care. They'll actually probably, I'm not saying everyone, but they might even like it that you're upset, right? So, if somebody's doing that kind of thing, they might like it. Then there's some people who are caught and they might go, oh, I was caught. And then some people might feel ashamed and you have a relationship. But you're going to have to state it that you did this to have the relationship if they actually do feel shame. Okay, so I don't think I've covered all possible parameters in a situation like that. But for you personally, while we're looking at the microbes working themselves out, come up into your heart and notice one of the things that this session can help with, but you can also continue it is, where do I have hard feelings towards someone? Not where their action hurts you. You may always feel hurt by that person's action. That's fine, right? Well, it's not fine. But I mean, it's not something that you can say, well, geez, I want to make sure this is clear so you don't just, because we often pick things up really easily and then use it as a defense. And I don't want to do that. So if somebody stole my husband, okay, if somebody stole from me, if somebody said something nasty, I could have the discussion with them, like let's say somebody steals my husband and you find out, well, I was bored with you, I no longer was getting along with you, and so we kind of hooked up. That's going to be a very different um kind of parameter than somebody actually going out and seducing my husband, getting him drunk so that they have an affair, and he's like, oh my god, what has happened to me. It's not very good he got into that situation, but you might have a different conversation and you might have a different understanding. I hope that kind of gives you a sense of where your heart would be at, because we do need to forgive. So I forgive all the things someone does, or forgive myself, but I don't excuse it. Like, okay, I forgive that you've done that. I have compassion for you doing that, but that doesn't mean you can be in my life. That doesn't mean I can hang around with you. So if somebody's a thief and they keep stealing and they're lying and they're deceitful, and you've tried over and over again to get your relationship going and it doesn't work, well, why would you stay in that position? If somebody says, I'm never going to hit you again, and they keep hitting you, well, it's time to go. I'm using extreme examples when usually our relatedness is more subtle. So those subtleties need to be organized within the heart and the gut brain. So we're just going to allow this to happen. Those are some of the parameters I'm using. So categories of boundaries, categories of what within each situation, like which within, I'm at a restaurant and the waitress and I have a particular relationship. I give the order, I'm respectful, I'm kind, I greet the person, but I'm not going to sit around and ask their personal life, right? And I don't want to know their personal life either. I'm at dinner with other people. Okay. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen ever. Sometimes you're alone and you start chatting with someone, of course, but usually there is this contract. You've got the teller, you've got all kinds of different people. You're not coming up and just doing anything you want. That makes the results, the consequences in life a lot simpler, right? Because if I'm very friendly to a waitress or waiter in the afternoon when there are no people and we chit chat, but then I continue to chit chat when I go back in the evening when it's really busy, that waiter or waitress might get ticked off with me, and then I might just go, why are you talking to me? Have a chat with, well, I'm slammed, as they say in the restaurant business. So this is the discernment we're talking about, right? This is where we need to know where the social contract lies. Now, I'm just using very generic examples. We just want to keep those categories going because you all have families, you have siblings, you have cousins, you have aunts and uncles. These are all, and then you have all these friends. And then we have the collective where life is more online. Life is more in front of a screen, and we're not relating, and the younger generation is not able to relate. And people, I remember in the 1990s, when I would do tarot readings for women, and they would talk about whether a guy was worth it or not. So they're dating this person, let's say for a year. They love the person, but they still wonder if this person is worth it. And it would shock me. I'd have to say it would shock me, because I'd say, but this is a human being. And you're saying whether it's worth it, you've put all this time, but should I invest another year? It's like, but in what? What are you talking about? Like, well, is he good enough? Is he, oh my God, but you've been with him for a year. Now, that was very extreme in the 90s. in the 1990s. Now it's even worse. Now we don't have the person, we don't even have flesh and blood. So you could have a woman who's flesh and blood in a relationship with someone, even living with them, wondering whether the guy's worth it, which is very dehumanizing, to now where only a certain group of men get to be looked at because of the hypergamy of women. We tend to look up. So even the most, let's say a woman is rated 1, 2, and 3, she's looking for the men who are 10, 9, and 8. Then under 8 to 1 of the men, they're no longer human. And there is a guy who actually talks about this. And I thought, yeah, it was happening in the 90s. It was happening when I was in the 80s when I was young. And now it is really, really accentuated. Because in the old days, you could actually meet someone and talk to different people. So a 5, let's say, rating woman could meet up with a 5 male, right? A 4 could meet up with a 4. People got to know each other, and it wasn't just physical appearance, money. It was a lot more that came around. Now we don't get to do that, so we only want the top men, and all the women are going for the same men, and they don't want all of you. That's another problem. So I'm just looking at this dehumanization process. Now, that is only in dating, but there are things going on with friendships, creating friendships. Facebook is a place that we, tend to share things. People talk there. I don't get it. I can't do it. I can be on here and talk to my friends, which is just fine. Like the phone or be in this position. But talking, texting on Facebook and things like this, I don't get it. Plus, it's public. I know the messenger isn't public, but I just have no interest. It has no depth or meaning for me. And I think that, okay, maybe I'm extreme. People could say that's silly of you, but there's going to be a lot more and more superficiality, right? So we need to just connect with our hearts a little bit more, and instead of the head. So there's another thing I've been saying for a really long time, like been reading tarot since 1971. So, in the 80s when I was reading for my friends, and then in the 90s I started reading professionally. I did see that a lot of people would look at relationships, would look at people, would look at the world in this way that is men are like this and women are like that. And you could see during this period of time that we're switching roles. And women would state traits that are masculine. I'm not talking about male and female, though they would be more predominant in females, that they would actually think that masculine traits are feminine, and like men's traits would be more female. And I'd be like, no, don't you know anything about mythology? Just go look at things. This is not a masculine trait. And now we've really crossed over. What have we done? Well, we've feminized men, and the more feminized men become, the more masculinized women become. So there was a period of time that I was struggling, I'd say from the 90s to about 2005, wherein I would watch women being extremely masculine, saying it was feminine. And I thought, is this just the grouping of people that I'm talking to? Is this just a certain amount? And now it is being talked about online that the more men become feminized, the more masculinized women become. So there are attributes of the masculine that women have confiscated as female, and also feminine as well as female characteristics. For example, A lot of men tell me they are practical and women are impractical. No, that's not it at all. The feminine is practical, so women tend to be more practical. The male is the visionary. How do we know this? How do we know it? Well, usually throughout history, females were secretaries because secretaries run the whole company. So you have a CEO of a company, masculine. Yeah, a lot of people are going to get mad at this. And then you have the secretary. She's the one who really runs the whole company. She knows way more about the whole company. The CEO envisions. Okay, so if you understand that, you realize nobody is superior or inferior. Actually, the secretary has a greater role, just like the woman staying at home. Historically, the female stayed at home. She collected the money. She's the one who did all the accounting. She took care of the kids. She took care of the house. What did the man do? He went to work and brought home the bacon so all of this could run. Okay. And they both had tough jobs, but the woman was the one running everything. The man would come home and not know what was going on in the house. And now it's a little bit different. Women want to be the visionary, and yeah, sure, that's fine. And the men stay at home. I don't know how well that's going to work out. I don't know what's going to happen. But if there is a discontent amongst females, statistically, women are unhappy. And yeah, I know a lot of women who now go, oh, if only I had got married, I'd love to be a housewife. I'd love to have had kids. Not everyone. There are always exceptions. Not everyone. But so many of us would like to have, you know, now there's also the problem where I had my career and got to be in my 40s and looked at it and went, yeah, it's kind of empty. It's really nice. I love what I do. Great. But it is empty if you don't have somebody to cuddle and love and have love you. It gets kind of empty. So that's not for everyone. Some people could live alone the rest of their lives. Again, the exception does not make the rule, right? It's the exceptions end up proving the rule. So and just think about that a little bit when you're, relating in the world, that it's going to be hard to relate to a good quality man that you actually want the man to be the one who brings home the bacon, who's the one who calms down your emotions when they're overdone, who envisions where we're going to be in the future and what we're going to do. Because we women, we have our own little foibles. So it's something to, again, how the masculine and feminine is weighted within you as an individual shifts all the time. It shifts all the time. But we have to remember we do have ways in which our lives can be happier, especially if we're fulfilling the way we are experiencing our feminine or masculine. Okay. So I don't want to put too many rules down, but I do want to point out that those two existing within us, whether you're looking at it as Kundalini and the Ida Pingala channels, whether you're looking at it at left and right brain, whether you're looking at it, most of us can sit around, go in our body and say, I know which shoulder is higher than the other shoulder. I know which part of my spine is a little bit curved. I have one leg higher than the other. You can look at your face and see, what side's going up, what side's going down. I have a little, I don't even, I only notice it when I'm doing these videos, but my mouth pulls this way. I have a brother too, and he tends to do that too. What the heck is that? Why isn't this side pulling at the same? Well, the muscles pull a lot more on this side than this side. Why? I don't know. Is it masculine and feminine? My right side is linked to the left brain. So that is our feminine. Right side linked to the left side. Here's the masculine. So my feminine had to do things it didn't want to do. My masculine's fine doing what it does, but my feminine's like, do I have to keep working all the time? I don't have any kids. I don't have, who knows? If I had kids, maybe I'd be smiling on both sides. I don't know. So something for you to consider and think about as you're balancing your relationship, because relatedness outside in the world has to do with this relatedness internally of the masculine and feminine and understanding it. I know a lot of people just don't get it. But I'm telling you, when you get it, when you start to feel into what the two roles are and how you work through them through your body mind, I think it makes us happier. I really, really do. So when I work too much, and I think too much, I tend to have more of a curve. This side gets more and more tense. When I work out a lot more, when I take care of my body is feminine, right? The physical body is earth, it's feminine. When we do that, when there's less just sitting here thinking, focusing, creating, that's the masculine. I'm kind of making fun, eh? That's the masculine. Men love it. They live in it. They live in that soup. They like artistry. They envision things and they go out and they create. We can do that too, but if you look out throughout history, and women haven't written all the great novels. Um, Nobody found any secret manuscripts of women writing amazing novels. There are some, but we haven't found those manuscripts. So, uh, you know, any woman can sit right now and write the great novel that they want to write. They can make the great painting, the great sculpture. Um, but it's not always women doing that. Yeah, it's usually men. So nothing wrong with that. I think it's fantastic. I think men doing their job is great. I love it. Um, and I love that I do my job as the feminine and I enjoy it. If I try to do something that is not made for me, I don't feel so good. So hopefully that will help you figure out this relationship. So we have the relationship with our pathogens. We have the relationship to the outside world. There's the collective. I brought in the collective because you're going to be influenced by what people think the masculine is supposed to be and the feminine. But if you don't study that for yourself, you're never going to know, and somebody's going to tell you what it's all about. And if they tell you what it's all about, without you exploring it, I heard the masculine is visionary, the feminine is practical. I heard that, but I went and discovered it for myself, and I saw in the world that that works. And then I said, well, how about I really test this? And I go see whether I can be the one who creates something, huge and big. It's not that I don't have the ideas, but really going out there and doing it. No, I always wanted a man. As a matter of fact, a lot of women have asked me, Terryann, you're really good at, making business work. I'd love to go in business with you. And I go, sure, but we need a man. I'm not going to go into business with another woman. I need a man to be part of the business. And nobody wanted to bring a man in. It's like, no, I'm not doing this with women. No, 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 no. I need a man in there. The man's going to see where we need to go. He's going to put us in that direction. So that wasn't something that I had studied. It was something that I felt I needed, and it never happened. I don't know. Maybe I was just too dominant as a female. Who knows? Anyway, so hopefully that helps you kind of sort through things and make this quest on your own. You don't need anybody to tell you. I don't care if you turn around and say, Terryann, you're wrong about this. You can tell me I'm wrong all I want. All you want. Doesn't really matter to me. What matters is that you're living a happier life and your relationship with the rest of the world is a lot better. And we make this place a better place to live, not worse, right? Because we know there's a lot of things out there trying to make life worse. There's so many weird videos, so many that I don't see as making life better. Let's make life better. Let's explore things. We can figure it out, and we can connect and make life better, make society better. There is no need to make it worse. No need to fight. No need to argue. Yeah, sometimes there is, okay, but that's different. When we're relating, we don't need to fight. We can figure out how to make life better. All right, guys. So let your pathogens. I know my belly is kind of rumbling right now. So I know things are going on in what we just did. So enjoy. and take a couple of deep breaths. And I'll see you next week. Ciao, everyone. Please like, share, and subscribe. Show me a little bit of love. Bye.